The number of men who have committed suicide for the past 18 months is quite saddening. The numbers are so high. Welcome back to another episode of Very Active. Today we are not going to talk so much and not so less, but we're going to talk about a few things. Of course, you know what we talk about, the country, Kenya, and some of the few things that have led to the slow progression of our economy as a country, and of course things that are pulling us back massively, leading to the slow gradual development that isn't really seeable when you try to look at it. So I think the first thing we should start with, of course, we must acknowledge that, of course, corruption is at the peak of the pyramid. Of course, our politicians, our civil servants, and all those people in the government, corruption is at its peak. All right. But also, we can also not ignore the fact that influence from external societies like the governments, the Western, and all those, we cannot ignore their contribution to the slow progression of our economy in major ways. I believe I've explained that before, and we can also not ignore, I think, the most ignorable, the most important part that gets ignored is taking responsibility as us, the Wananchi, our contribution to the upbringing of this very slow, gradual development. We Kenyans, for some reason, appear to be suffering from what the Muzungu calls masochism. Okay, for those who don't know masochism is that act of deriving pleasure from humiliation and the pain. So Kenyans, for some reason, regardless of how corrupt their politicians are, regardless of the evils that they have been shown, they are still going to look for some reason, for some good, regardless of the margin of the big evil. They are still going to look for some good to try and justify the things that this evil person has done. All right? One of my favorite authors called Friedrich Nietzsche, right? He has written a book called The Beyond Good and Evil. Friedrich Nietzsche says, you must not gaze too much in the abyss, because when you stare too much, the abyss also gazes into you. Because for some reason, Kenyans have gazed so much in the darkness that light doesn't seem like it's light, and because essentially light is where we are supposed to be, but we have been so much darkness that light doesn't look normal. We have endured so much chaos and so much madness that sanity doesn't look like sanity. Sanity looks like insanity. All right? It's come to a point that whenever there is someone in our politics, whenever you present someone who doesn't have the usual drama that we are used to, the chaos, the mediocrity, the insults, it doesn't look like it's someone who is capable of running a country or pushing us to the right direction. So that is one of the things that has massively contributed to our slow progression as a country. The worshipping of people who have caused us so much pain, but we refuse to abandon them. It's like we're in a toxic relationship with our Wananchi, right? And it's something that has been incorporated in our system, in our society, since we are very small beings, since we are children, all right? And it's going to take a lot of learning and unlearning, all right? Because as the Greek says, man cannot remake himself without pain, for he is both marble and sculpture. All right? It's going to take a lot of accepting the denial that we are in, that these people, they don't love us as much as we love them. These people have caused us pain, and we must accept that. These people are not one of us. Okay? And it really doesn't lie much on the education we have received, because when you look at it, even the most educated people are still moving with the same mindset. People with PhDs, people with degrees, and people with diplomas. It's something very scary and something that should be very much looked upon. Kenyans need to move away from the political drama. Kenyans need to focus. We need to focus. Okay? The drama is not helping anyone at all. And it's something we must really address. And we must accept that part of us is addicted to the drama the politicians are bringing. And if we are not going to do that, tufunge nchi, kila mtu afunge virago yake aende katafute. Let's move to Botswana or let's move to Burundi, if that's what it's going to take. Because it's our fault. Part of it is our fault. The politicians, and it's said that politicians are only a reflection of their citizens. Okay, and we must change from within so that we can start pushing the change outwards. Okay, and speaking of the errors in the systems, we must also there's a ministry that must also be looked very, very, very keenly. The Ministry of Kenya Wildlife Service. The Kenya Wildlife Service is a ministry, it's an organization that has vowed to protect and conserve the environment and wild animals and all that in the environment, all right? But when you look at these things keenly, you realize that there's very little concern on the environment. The Kenya Wildlife Service, their allegiance isn't really much laid on the people of the country. Kenya Wildlife Service, you ask me why? Why is there so much hostility from the forest rangers to the of course from the servants in the wildlife service? Why is there so much hostility from them towards the local indigenous mwananchi of the country, and so much welcoming gestures to the white settlers and the white visitors? Right? And we're also going to need to ask, why is the Kenya Wildlife Service receiving so much donations from institutions like World Bank, IMF, and of course the other private institutions? We need to know what is going on in the Kenya Wildlife Service, right? Because when you realize that big corporations like the JW Marriott are being allowed to build lounges, expensive lodges. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but some of these lounges are very much expensive. How is a lounge in the middle of the path of where world beats, where the big five, our cultural identity, some of the things that we identify with as a country? How are big corporations like those being allowed to build lounges costing as much as 500,000 a night to spend there? How are big corporations like those being allowed to build lounges, restaurants in the middle of protected conservancy or protected national game park, in the middle and in the roots of where our animals pass through, the migratory routes? And nobody's asking a question. And some of these corporations have also built things like, they have also established, what do you call them, traveling tours. They have built lounges, they have built roads, they have built all these things. But nobody's asking a question. But when a poor man in the same game park is caught hunting a rabbit, he's shot on sight. Because from what I've seen, the Kenya Wildlife Service, those guys don't carry cuffs. Once you're caught, there's very little chance you're going to survive there, right? So we need to understand why is there selective justice when it comes to such matters. Is whose interests are being protected by the Kenya Wildlife Service? It's a really intriguing question that really needs to be asked. as we seek a way forward as a country. Okay? Because, like I said, we must look from within ourselves. Who among us is not one of us? Is the Kenya Wildlife for us, or is the Kenya Wildlife Service against us? Is the Kenya Wildlife Service conserving the wildlife, or is the Kenya Wildlife Service conserving the wildlife for the highest bidder? Of course, the corporations and all those. It's a really intriguing questions that really needs to be answered. We are demanding answers to understand what is really going on. And of course, we cannot forget the most crucial part, the most crucial, the core problem in this cacophony of problems emanating from every side. The most weaponized problem that we have here right now, especially in modern areas like Nairobi, is the structured poverty. The structured underdevelopment and the weaponized poverty. All right? Because I believe there was a documentary done last week by Odipodev, right? And we came to learn that goons, of course, goons were interviewed and they revealed that they work for politicians. Politicians are supplying them with weapons. They are supplying them with of course, small cash handouts. Politicians are paying them for chaos. All right? And when you look at the structure and the development, you realize that some of these social amenities that we lack, the schools, the hospitals, the roads, of course, things like cheaper internet, things like cheaper electricity, all these things, it's not like they are unachievable because we lack the capacity. When you look at things like electricity, there was a report last month that Kenyan is overproducing electricity, but the supplying lines, it's what is the actual problem. Olkaris has an overproduction of electricity, but still electricity remains to be very, very, very expensive in places like it. So this is structured underdevelopment. When you look at schools lacking books, very bad learning environment, all these things, it's not like they are not achievable if we wanted to, all right? It's just that the politicians, the people I said you are addicted to, the people you cannot, the people with drama that you cannot convince yourself otherwise not to vote for because you love the charisma they are giving you, the drama. The people you voted for are the ones doing this, all right? They are holding the development so that, waiting for a specific time so that they can come and deliver it halfly, so that you can feel like you owe them your loyalty because they are doing these things which are your constitutional rights, right? Because in the year 2026, heading to 2027, there's going to be a lot of road fixing, there's going to be a lot of street lights fixing, there's going to be a lot of these small things that you have been complaining about, but nobody has been listening. They're going to come. It has been like a norm. They're going to come, they are going to fix them, they are going to say now, mmeona nimefanya nini, and you're going there to cheer, you're going to cheer for them because they have done a good thing, which is basically their job, and you're going to re-elect them again because that is what you're used to. We must change ourselves, right? These things are not favors being done. Your politician working for you, your leaders, your MP, your governor delivering these things, your governor clearing, your member of parliament ensuring the tunnels, the sewer lines in your hood are cleaned. That is not a favor they are doing you. That is their job, all right? Your governor and your MP ensuring the bursaries, some of your children, some of you are incapable of paying the school fees. Your MP ensuring these bursaries zimewafikia. That is not a favor they are doing you. That is their job, right? Your MP ensuring the roads, the Kenya, what do you call it? The Kenya ensuring that the street lights in the road are working. That is not a favor they are doing you. You paid for that tax using the fuel levy and of course the other taxes we pay here and there. Okay? So your politician is not doing you a favor by doing his job. We must stop. We really need to address these issues. The structure and the development, the hoarding of progress so that it can be done at a particular time, so that you can feel like these people are doing you a favor and you can owe your loyalty to them. And to show your loyalty, you need to vote them back in again so that they can complete the development that they had hoarded. It's really saddening, and it's something most of us should understand. Okay, these people are the cancer to the society. These people are the ones stealing the money for. These people are the ones. They're the ones stealing your money for hospitals. They're the ones stealing your money supposed to pay your teachers. They're the ones stealing the money in your circles that you cannot withdraw the money you want because the circle has lended your money somewhere. These people are the ones putting your salaries in a bank so that they can incur some certain interest and then they can release it where you starve and taking loans somewhere else because you're waiting for your salary. All these people, they are not your friends. They don't love you like you love them. Stop looking for excuses to love corrupt politicians. It's not doing us any good, all right? And speaking of another catastrophe that we're experiencing, I cannot forget to mention the men's mental health. I think this is what I'm going to finish with. The men's mental health. The data from the number of men who have committed suicide for the past 18 months is quite saddening. The numbers are so high, all right? It's a silent pandemic that has been happening that not so many people acknowledge its existence, but they are really not much concerned about it for some reason I don't understand, right? Because when you look at the ratios of the male to female, the female to male suicide rates, it says it's almost 1:6. For every 5 men, for every 5 women who have committed suicide, 30 to 33 men have also committed suicide, right? And it's something most people are not finding a good way to approach because most men are not even talking. Okay, they are just waking up one day, taking the rope and taking them out, leaving their families with the questions that can never be answered. And my only prognosis for this problem, I would say, is we as society, and when I say society is not an external force from Pluto or Neptune or Mercury. Society is us, the male and the females, the men and the women. We have made the environment so much conducive for men to share their problems, all right? And part of me blames the Githeri self-made, what do you call them? Men representatives who come from, I don't know where, to come and tell men that talking doesn't help anyone, right? You look at the statistics, women have been talking, women have been crying. Women, sometimes as humans, let's not put it as men, we need to out-steam these things we feel inside, all right? Because no man is an island. Anyone telling you a man shouldn't talk, mwanaume ni kujikazana. Look where that has gotten us, right? We need to talk about these things, that men need to be talking, all right? And talking isn't really much about talking to someone so that they can help you. Talking eases the pressure you feel inside, the pressure you have inside, all right? It helps you come to a lower level where you can be able to tackle some of your problems in a more pragmatic way, in a more logical way, in a more approachable manner. And sometimes you even realize some of these problems you are so much worried about, they're not as big as they look, right? Because I even remember one of my favorite authors called Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius says, man suffers more in his mind than he suffers in reality. Right? So we need to talk. And don't say when you are talking to someone they are not helping. Don't go with that approach. Go there with the cause of you have talked to someone. Probably sometimes we give good advices, but don't let that steam explode your head. Right? Men need to come out, and I believe it's up to us, the men who are left alive, to create an environment where we can share some of these problems, because they are so much common. Okay, I believe we can do some of those forums. We have the men empowerment things. We don't have to do it the female way, because some of you are doing very stupid things when we come to those forums. How can you tell me to look at the man next to me and tell him I love him? What the hell are you doing? We need to have structured men empowerment programs from men who are from men, as men, and talk these things as men, and find a more approachable way. And of course, the same way we created the environment that men talking about their problems is shameful, they shouldn't be talking, the same way we did that, we need to undo it, because it's not doing us any good. And one thing about humans, what we call civilization and evolution, is our ability to evolve, to drop what isn't working for us and to adopt to new concepts that are working for us. So when it's no longer working, when then the mwanaume ni kujikaza slogans and module operandi ways of living are no longer working, we need to adapt to the ones that are not. We need to adapt to the ones that are working, the ones that are sensible. Okay? Because remember, it's not the strongest that come out alive. It's not the smartest. It's not the tallest. It's not the most beautiful. It's the ones that adapt to change. Okay? So this isn't working for us. We need to work with what is working for us. Men need to come out and have a structured way of approaching these matters. Because you can't tell them so most of these people are contemplating suicide. We are having a very high number of people, of men, offing themselves in Kenya, especially in countries like Kenya. We need to talk about these problems, and we need to find a way, we need to create a conducive environment where that can be done without feeling any guilt. Because women did it. I mean, look at how they can talk about their problems and move on within the day and feel a little bit relaxed. And I mean, talking about them, it's not still mama. It's the most approachable way. Because remember, even though mama, it doesn't mean that women are weak. It doesn't mean women are bad. It doesn't. We are so much common that we are so much common that we are uncommon. Okay? If it's working for them, it's definitely going to work for us. Thank you very much.